Okay, let's talk about alopecia. Before we talk about the alopecia, there is a concept we need to understand. Upper body heat. Upper body heat is a little bit different from regular triple bonus system. In Korea, we call that Topical. Have you ever heard that? Yeah, Topical. It is a kind of very fancy word and popular word in Korea these days. And all of the broadcasts talk about this concept. It means, literally, figure on a scarf. Like this picture. Figure on a scarf. Yes. Let's talk about this because this pathology is deeply associated with alopecia and acne. So this is an interesting statistics. There is a research of the alopecia patient who visited the clinic, and 76% of patients reported heat sensation on their scalp, like this. These are all different 3 studies, and 72% of the patients reported sensation on their scalp, heat sensation. And in this study, characteristic of Korean with alopecia and causes of alopecia, Journal of Investigation on Cosmetology, 88% patients reported heat sensation on their scalp. And personally, I feel heat on my scalp. A lot of heat, always. So I always touch my hair and scalp. So this is to peer, scalp fever. So when you go to the alopecia specialty clinic in Korea, they usually take picture like this. It's a regular thermography. If you see here, their nape and head and upper shoulder has a redness. That means you have a high fever there. Usually, it's a difference of 0.5 Celsius to 1 Celsius. So the temperature difference from head and your chest, more than 1 Celsius, there is a big difference. Those machines are very expensive, so just you can use this kind of thermometer. Or you can just use the thermometer in your clinic. Just check the forehead and the chest and the neck and the ear and just check the difference. If there's a difference more than 0.5 Celsius, you can say there is a difference. And interestingly, alopecia and acne doesn't seem like a connected condition. This is for puberty and this is for middle age, but they are connected with the term of androgen. Androgen and androgen receptor play important roles in skin-related diseases such as androgenic alopecia and acne vulgaris. They look very different, but they are connected. Shorter polyQ polymorphism in androgen receptor genes are more prevalent in people with androgenic alopecia, hirsutism, and acne. So weirdly, they are all connected together. 이거 뭔지 알아요? 타모증. 이래요. 전 모르는 단어 있어요. Alopecia, hirsutism, and acne. They are connected under the umbrella of androgen. And also, sebaceous glands are stimulated by androgen. So it increased the chance of developing acne. The influence of sex hormone on acne. So we can learn androgen makes men hot. Literally hot. Sexier.
Literally.
Yeah. Hot and literally hot too. Hot. Very hot. Bruce Willis. Who is this?
Jason Statham.
Yeah, the transporter.
Yeah.
They are very hot. They have alopecia and hirsutism maybe, and a lot of acne in their puberty, I don't know. please don't sue me with these pictures behind their eyes, so we don't know who are they. So they may need PCM treatment to sedate the fire, sedate heat. They comes all together, alopecia, microcism, and acne. Androgen is the key of all these symptoms, and we can subside the heat, and we can help them. So let's see. When you get stressed, I'm not that hot, but I'm troubled with alopecia and acne. I get stressed. The cortisol is increased, and testosterone is increased, and DHT. This is the variation of testosterone, and it is affecting alopecia and acne, both of them. So when it gets mixed together, it makes one big problem. This is a Chinese letter, fire. So all these conditions make your head heated, steamed, heated, and steamed scalp makes your hair falling off. That is the problem with acne and alopecia. So please understand this concept. This diagram. Actually, DHT is a good hormone. Testosterone is a good hormone. Both of them, they help us metabolize well with the nutrient. And cortisol let you prepare fight and flight conditions. But with stress, even under the condition, you don't need to activate those fight the reaction, but you still activate those fight reactions all the time. So we need to control that, to not go into this cycle, to reduce the heat. Not only herbs, acupuncture. This is the key point of the treatment of these two. Let's go to the next slide, alopecia. And let's see what kind of herbs we can use and what kind of acupuncture formula we can use for alopecia. We can divide alopecia to major two patterns. So we are doing the same thing actually with the 5 major etiologies. The general skin approach is applied exactly the same here. First one is heat, second one is deficiency. But alopecia, kidney is more related other than other junk food. And heat due to indeficiency, ministerial fire is more related to this alopecia. Stress, too much of desk work, lack of physical exercise, make the heat isolated in the head. And kidney deficiency, aging, excessive sex, fatigue, and overwork make a kidney deficiency. Okay. Scalp fever, pathology, upper excess and lower deficiency. And this one failed to nourish hair because of kidney deficiency. Immune state-wise, all the stages of alopecia areata is known to be associated with autoimmune problems. So our immune system attacks our follicles. And this condition is related to immunodeficiency. And alopecia type, regarding alopecia type, this one is related to age 1, just the abrupt hair loss, androgenetic hair loss, and alopecia areata. And this one, kidney deficiency, is more related to senescent alopecia, senile type, and telogen resting phase effluvia. That means resting phase hair loss. 쉴 때 빠지는 거, 휴지기가 길어나는 거. So this type of alopecia can be categorized into heat and deficiency. And medicine, this is what we will discuss about today. I just take the part of the physiology of the alopecia, put away, and I'm focusing more on the herbs because it will be more practical. 지현정 칭인탕 and Shen In Yang Jendan. Are you familiar with these herbs? Okay, there are not much of herbs, only 2 herbs. Let's see. So this is 가감 청영탕. 지지안칭인탕. It's a modified formula by Balmo Clinic. This Balmo Clinic is a very famous clinic specialized in alopecia. It's their own modification. Balmo science. They only see the alopecia patient. It's amazing.
밟았어요? 밟았어요?
발머스요. 아, 타이포 발머스. So two major patterns. In two major patterns, this prescription is for this condition. Okay, heat. These are the commonly used decoction for alopecia patient. This herb, modified Qing in Tang, is overwhelmingly used way more than other formula. 34 cases reported with this other prescription. And second one is 신응양진탕, 신응양진탕, 신응양진탕. It is second most used herb. So I will cover these two herbs. This is most commonly used herb. And other herbs, 유웨이디왕탕 and 황팽통천산, we already covered this. So these two herbs are kind of variation, specially designed for alopecia. So other herbs, of course, you can use based on correct diagnosis, just as we discussed earlier hours. That is very important because all that general principle is applied to alopecia too. These are the specially devised herbs, but other herbs you already know. 귀비탕, 방풍통성산, and 유웨이디왕탕. You can use those herbs. So let's see 가감, modified 청룡탕 first. This is the formula. And let's see. 생지황. So English-speaking friends, please read this. And Korean friends, please read this. This formula is narrowly more focused on subsiding heat. This formula can be also used in treatment for acne or seborrheic dermatitis beside alopecia. So this article is from the 7 cases of the seborrheic dermatitis in patients treated with this prescription, 가감 청룡탕. So it can be used any symptoms induced by scalp fever.
What about the women?
조금 다르긴 하지만 5% of women has an androgenetic alopecia too, 5 to 6%. Then you can apply this herb based on their differentiation. If they have a very high fever and a lot of greasy skin and headache, then you can use these herbs. And this is the result of application of this herb. They reported how their symptoms changed after this herb. Let's see. Heat sensation, subjective heat sensation. I told you about the thermometer, but that is not that important. Subjective feeling is more important in TCM. Heat sensation, pre-treatment, 30 patients. But after taking this medication, only 5 patients reported heat sensation on their scalp. And the sebum secretion, they reported lessen and reddish is dramatically lessened, itching, lessened, pimple, lessened, dandruff, kind of similar. So these are the report. So you can use this herb when they have very clear excessive heat, especially on their face. Actually, I'm troubled with this heat. And I'm over 50, but I'm troubled with acne a lot. I have a lot of acne here. And sebum secretion. And 신은 양진단 is on the opposite side. It is for helping kidney energy. So this is for this side of symptoms. Senescent alopecia, immunodeficiency, fail to nourish hair. Then, why not UAD 황탕? You can use UAD 황탕. It is a little bit different. Let's see what is the difference. 강활, 모가, 천마, 백작, 당비, 토사자, 숙지학, 천국. 네. 광과, 미고, 참마, 발샤오, 방귀. Okay? And these are the herbs for this prescription. And here's a diagram. So, here's a seal tank. If you see here, 당귀, 숙지황, 청궁, 시우탕. This is 시우탕, 당귀, 청궁. So it has a whole ingredient of 시우탕. So basically, this herb is for tonifying blood and in energy. And also, it has 2CG, 토사자. Do you know what this herb is, Gerald? Do you? No. This is the herb for enhancing our sexual function. So it helps 신정, yeah, 신의 기능, function of the kidney, yeah, reproductive system, essence. So it helps the kidney, it helps in energy. So this is the key part of this prescription. And 강월, 모가, 천만 왜 들어갔느냐? Why they put these herbs? Because it works in the scalp. So expel exterior and put the herbs to outward. Drain the herbs to the upward, effectively to the outward. So expel wind. Actually, it works like a minoxidil. It nourishes the hairs, and these herbs can increase the blood circulation, vasodilation, blood circulation. So this is the minoxidil I'm using it. So I put it. Today morning too. You know what? My hair, if I just go like this, right side stops here, but left side go all the way up, more than 1 centimeter difference. So I apply minoxidil on this side. I'm getting the M.
Widow's peak.
I'm sorry?
We
The
call
peak?
it Widow, right? Is that what it's called?
What do you call that? Widows. I
I
have
think
my
that's what
wife.
it's called.
Okay, so I'm very troubled with alopecia too. I'm getting hair loss after these days. And that is senescent alopecia. Senescent alopecia. The characteristic of senescent alopecia is, let's skip all the general part. This one is important. Not necessarily defined by high level of the DHT. It is not associated with other regular kind of androgenetic alopecia. So it is more of a condition of deficiency, while other androgenetic alopecia is related to excessive condition like heat. 이거를 설명하면, let me go this first step. There is two type of mechanism you can explain alopecia. First one is DHT cause the hair loss. When the testosterone meet the 5-alpha reductase enzyme, they change the testosterone to DHT. And DHT have several functions. One is shrinking the hair follicle and diminish the nourish and the hair fall off. And also DHT enlarge prostate. So DHT is kind of the culprit in many problems. And another symptom, another mechanism you can explain alopecia is autoimmune reaction. So you possible inflammation, DHT cause the hair loss to become thin and die. Your own cells, immune cells, attack the follicles and it falls off. It is one of the possible explanation of alopecia areata. And this is topical androgenetic alopecia. So I cannot cover all these details, the physiology in this class, so I will go back to the prescription first. So this prescription is more suitable for the senescent alopecia. Me, I'm kind of mixed, but more of a hit, androgenetic alopecia. And this prescription, 신흥양진단, this prescription is quite popular prescription in China, in Japan, and Korea. 이거는 상당히 그냥 보편적인 처방이에요. 신흥양진단. If you say ask any good prescription for the hair loss, they will tell you this prescription. This is quite popular, and there are a lot of researches. I can go a lot more pages with this 신흥양진단. But in Korea, the former one, 청영탕, is more used commonly than this herb. Why? Because there are more patients with heat, less patients with this deficiency. There's interesting statistics. The patient who visits alopecia specialty clinic, 40% of patients is in their 20s and 30s. So once I get older like me, I don't go to the clinic. But the 20s and 30s, just a little bit of hair loss, they go to the clinic. So that is the reason that first one, heat prescription, heat formula used more often. So it will be based on your patient condition. If the patient is old and in deficiency, this prescription will be better than the first one. So this is the Korean research with 신흥양진단. They compared the effect with minoxidil. And minoxidil let the hair grow 2.9 millimeter, while this 신흥양진단 let grow 2.3, 2.2, and control group only grow 1.5. So it has an effect, more effect than control, but less effect than minoxidil. So there is a reason I'm using minoxidil more than 신흥양진단.
The side effects.
Okay, let's discuss about that after the class. I know you're a big fan of TCM. And I am too. Yeah, well, we can discuss about that. Okay, Balmo 301, 302 is special prescription formula from Balmo's clinic. So this is original prescription. So I will just introduce how it is composed with these. So it is more of a heat dispeller, heat clearer. And Balmo 203 is a little bit more of a function of enhancing, helping in energy, like with the Mai Mengdong, Shan Ju Yu, and Ju Chi Ji. So those are helping in energy, but basic function is getting rid of the heat. And this was a research with Balmo 301 and 302. He gets hair loss even after the treatment, and you got like this, total hair loss, and you recover again like this. I don't think it's a good case report. Usually those cases, they usually come back to normal. And acupuncture they used was 0.20 and 30 millimeter needle, and they used the local point, and that was 5 to 10 millimeters, so it is about a centimeter, and they treated 1 or twice a week and retained the needle 20 minutes. And this is the score, the hair density score, and it got worse at first, and with the treatment it got better. It's just like the pictures I showed you. And this is the basic general alopecia treatment modality I can introduce you. It is based on the article latest trend of treatment for alopecia in Korea in 2015. Local point is this point. And this point, same. It's more located with BI channel, the hair. And I don't know why they picked this point, but this is commonly used point. And some acupuncture, they use kidney 정격, kidney enhancing point. And this is the whole list of the local point and system point, the distant point. This point. So you can apply this point just like this. This is the actual treatment, the photo. So he doesn't look like any problem. He has more hair than me.
Too much hair.
Too much hair. Maybe that is the reason they get acupuncture. And muscle release. and they need more blood circulation on their scalp and head. So helping release the muscles around the neck will be helpful, because all the patients with alopecia spend too much time with the computer work. And their muscles are tightened here, so tightened muscles lead to poor circulation on their head. So I release the muscles, cervical muscles, splenius, tapetus, and SCM, trapezius. What is this? Levator scapula. Levator scapula. So in the afternoon, I will cover this issue for the cosmetic region or alopecia regions, okay? With some little bit of actions. And this is a topical agent for alopecia. These are very popular in Korea. Asomchu. Everybody know. We all know this. These are very popular in Korea for all the old people. Youngji in this form of acupuncture. And this Asomchu is very popular, and this herb is called fish meat because it smells fish. It smells fish. Reserved fish meat. So it's not terrible, but it is known as an antiviral, antibacterial agent. But in Korea, it's more popular with the hair loss patient. And it's shaped like this. They use the leaves and the stem in dried form. And there are hundreds of products with this awesome fish meat in Korea. This means hair growing toner, hair growing pad. This is cosmetics with that ingredient. And you can get this fish mint extract in the United States too. So you can use for your alopecia patient. This was an interesting article about the fish mint. They researched how this herb affect hair growth promotion. And I skipped this part. This is interesting. This is minoxidil. And this is control, maybe saline. This is 50% of the solution of the fish meat. And this is the whole extract. And they get rid of the air. And after 3 weeks, this fish meat grew a lot more hairs. Just like minoxidil. So there are many researchers with this fish mint, but I still use this minoxidil. Let's discuss first about the causes and pros. And so palmetto is very interesting herb need to be mentioned. Which hormone is related to alopecia and acne? Androgen, especially DHT. Remember that DHT is the key hormone understanding acne and alopecia. Because of the stress, we all mid-aged men tend to secrete more sebums and losing hairs. So palmetto might prevent testosterone from being converted to DHT. Testosterone itself doesn't do any harm to hairs or your prostate, but DHT make a problem. And so palmetto may prevent conversion to DHT. Then it can be used for hair loss and also prostate cancer or prostate enlargement or prostate inflammation. As I said, testosterone went in met 5-alpha reductase, it became DHT and it affects the hair follicles. So this is the medicine I'm taking every day, so palmetto. And if you read this, healthy hair, not only the urine health. So that is the reason they sell under this indication is it is related to DHT. So androgenic alopecia, this is the N type, just like me, and O and C, maybe you can call it C or O, and N plus O. This is the most miserable, I think. So with this androgenic alopecia, you can use this salt palmetto or any other management to reduce androgen, DHT conversion. So what I'm trying to teach you today is principles you can approach this kind of androgenic alopecia with subsiding heat on the head and subsiding heat by reducing DHT with all possible means. With all possible means, you can stop and you can reduce the working hour with computers. You can exercise more. You can eat more plain food. You can eat subsiding, sedating heat, herbal meditations, and you can use acupuncture, long meridian, the large intestine meridian, and you can use soul pomelo or minoxidil too. By all means, you can try it. So I'm talking about the principles. I'm not saying this is good or this is not good, but this herb will not be that helpful for senescent alopecia, considering the mechanism. Androgenic alopecia and soul pomelo. However, taking soul pomelo by mouth does not appear to improve hair growth as well as the drug finasteride. This is a Alopecia. All the research suggests that applying soul pomelo to scalp may increase hair density in men and women, both of them for balding. Balding means androgenic alopecia. Balding is the androgenic alopecia. Usually, they do not call bald for the patient with alopecia areata, right? So there are two different differentiations. Do you know that? Everybody know that. I don't have to cover this. So baldness means androgenic alopecia. So soul pomelo, effect of soul pomelo is controversial, but you can apply. Not much of risk, but you can have a benefit. This is another research with soul pomelo and DHT and acne. So because it works as a DHT inhibitor, it can be theoretically helpful with acne too. So, and to develop the efficacy of 7 control, and these of 7 regulated efficacy was reported in 95% after 4 weeks treatment of clinical assessments were decreased. This is not a good study, but it says there can be a promising effect of the soul pomelo with the 7 control. So it can work as the heat reducer. And I think this is the Chinese herb too. Everything is herb. We don't have to just categorize this is Chinese and this is European. And aloe is the Chinese herb too. Please remember this, when you get stressed, you get more stress, cortisol, and eventually it leads to DHT, it makes the heat. Then you need to control this mechanism. And this is from 동의보감. I already did. It says, due to oily food means not just literally oily, spice and greasy food. We are eating too much spicy and greasy food. A lot of the root of the hair got steamed and the hair became drier. It means withered, like a tree withered, and finally fell out. Upon 방팽통선산, because they diagnosed the symptom with the heat and wind. And they try to blah, 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 blah. The patient stopped taking the prescription and treated the disease with plain food. Plain food means not salty, not spicy, not greasy. It's healthy food. So if you are planning to eat spicy pork today, try to think about it. We need to eat more salaries. Then she was cured before. So here's the magic. It doesn't look like a back scratch anymore. It looks like pointer, right? So this is from 동의보감, 1597. Yeah, wow, it is quite old. The old ancient people think just like this. And this old classic gives us lessons, how to change our nutrients. And this is another aspect of the nutrient for the alopecia. If you see this is called super hair. Those are all vitamin complex especially vitamin B complex is known to relate to hair loss. So taking vitamin B is not a bad idea. And biotin is another substance usually known to help the hair grow. And zinc and keratin, not clinically proven. So less risk, you can take it on your own risk. And biotin and hair loss, still controversial, it may be helpful. And biotin, becoming vitamin H in hair and skin. So you can use it, or you can recommend to take it for your patient. Other management, to increase the core temperature in deep inside and decrease the temperature of head. Reserve excessive upper and deficient lower condition during exercise. Stress management and rest. Actually, this is more important than herbs. We studied 2 herbs, one is for the heat and one is for the deficiency. Those are very important, and this is more important. And the problem is, this is how we get better. Patient cannot see their top of the head, and the change is very subtle. So you may need some skill to take your patient in a long-term period of time. And conventional medicine is not that different. Minoxidil only effective in 50% of patients. And the effectiveness of minoxidil can be inspected in 4 months. It takes a long time with this conventional medicine too. And finasteride, dutasteride, they take 3 to 4 months to see the result. What kind of result? I'm not bald anymore. Not that kind of result. The kind of result, just take a photo and compare it. Oh, there's slight changes. So it's not the problem with TCM. It is a problem with the whole process, including conventional medicine and TCM. So patients need to be patient. Okay? Patient. You need to be patient too. And grown hair falls off with stopping the medication. This is the worst part. You stop it, return to the state before. And even worse, because you get aged. If I stop putting on this, I'm not going back to 50, but I'm going back to 53, right? Because I stopped it after 3 years. So it can be worse. So it is very hard to manage the patient because this improvement is very subtle and it is a long-term treatment. So you need to set reasonable goal with the patient first. Preventing further progress, not growing most hair, is the agenda with your patient. Might be the reasonable goal of the conservative treatment, including TCM. If I'm not considering transplant, this is the reasonable goal. So earlier you start your treatment, it is better. Earlier the better. So you can persuade your patient to start earlier. And moreover, your treatment let them get healthier, less head hit, and healthier body. So it is worth to try. And patients need to understand the nature of the alopecia and reasonable with expected result. You need to tell them beforehand. TCM can help the patient to delay their progress. This is an important thing. And loss or regrow hairs in the long term and get healthier. And this will be the reasonable goal of your treatment. And acne. How many minutes left? I cannot say that.
50 minutes left.
50 minutes.
15?
50.
50. 와, 나 너무 빨리 만들어. Okay. Acne. So, let's see how Korean TCM doctors treat acne with what kind of herbs. So this is from the article, A Review on Acne Treatment in Korean Medicine by Analyzing Case Studies with Herbal Medicine Treatment. So these are the herbal formula used for treating acne. First one is 청안탕. I think you've never heard about this. never. Because it's the original prescription only exists in Korea, but there are a lot of researchers with this prescription too. 청안 means clear face tongue. And second, 청산방통탕. So this is the prescription we'll talk about today. It is very similar to 방팽통신산, but it's more focused on acne. You can use this for acne. 칭, 샨, 방팽탕. And another recommendation with this 황미안지에도탕. You can use this for all kind of skin problems as long as they have a clear accessibility. And 단기자격성, 비파청평 is a possible candidate for uses. But these herbs are sweeping other herbs. So let's focus on these herbs. Wind heat expeller. 청안탕. This is a very good prescription, very good formula you can use for your acne patient. Let's have a 5 minutes break and let's begin. Let's first talk about 청안탕. This is the wind heat expeller. So just like 방팽통신산. You see here, 형계, 징제. I wrote it down here with all the pinnates. 징제, 알지, 방팽. So all expelling wind herbs. It has a wind expelling herbs. And fundamental of this prescription is 시우탕 and 황련해독탕. It's interesting. So these two combination makes 온천마, 웬칭인. And 웬칭인 with this herb, it makes clear face decoction. So once you know the basic formula, other formula is easy with a solid construction. So all the prescription is composed of this kind of basic formula. That is how you understand this formula. So meaning of 시우탕, principle of 시우탕, and 황련해독탕. And also it has clearing wind. So if you remember the 5 major etiology, this medication formula covers all 3. Right? So this is more like a shotgun, not the sniper rifle. Okay, can you understand this analogy? So it is not that sharp spear, but it is like a shotgun. So you can use it without much of thinking. That is the reason it is so popular, maybe. So this is how it composed of. These are relief, exterior cool, with cool, and 황련해독탕, and 시우탕. Only difference with 시우탕 is they use shengdihuang instead of sudihuang because it is more focused on subsiding heat. And next one is 칭샹방팽탕. It is quite famous prescription. 청안탕 is original prescription from Korean acne clinics, and this one is very popular worldwide for acne treatment. This is the diagram of 청산방통탕. 많이 들어봤죠, 청산방통탕. The most important nature of this prescription is clearing heat. So there is 황련 산치자. This is 치지, same. 산 means mountain 치지. 치지가 뭔지 알죠? 치지, do you know what is 치지?
clear.
Yes, that one. This one is same, 치지. And 황금, 연교. So it is the meaning of 황련지에도탕. Okay. So it has clear heat function. This is 황련해독탕. Only difference is 리안치아오 and 황백. 이것만 달라집니다. So it has a meaning of 황련해독탕, and it also has herbs expelling exterior. 형계, 방풍, 박화, 기경, 백지. All living exterior, and also it has herbs for 천궁, 감초, 지갑. So it is a very auxiliary herbs. So adding a little bit of water, and 지각, removing stasis, and 한cal. So major function is this two, 청산방통탕. And it is most widely used herbal formula for acne treatment. So let's try to compare 청안탕 and 칭샹방팽탕. This is the most commonly used for acne. Let's see. Clearing heat. Both of them have a ingredient of 황미안제두탕. So clearing heat is the most important one. And both of the herbs have herbs for expelling exterior. Only difference is 청안탕 is more herbs with tonifying blood. And this one is just a little bit. So it is just almost nothing. So this one is the difference. So this one is more broad shot with shotgun, and this one is more specific with wind and heat. So I think this is a better prescription personally. But this kind of prescription is getting popular and popular these days. And this is 청산방통탕. This is a research with 청산방통탕. CBT is 칭샹방팽탕. Inhibitory effect of 청산방통탕 on both inflammatory acne and facial heat in patients with acne bluegrass. So they researched facial heat and inflammatory acne regions. Then report and the Korean FDA approved this medication for the acne vulgaris. That is not common thing, so they just proved it is effective for the acne vulgaris in Korea, and it cleared the upper energetic factors and heat. Let's see. And most of the herbs in 칭샹방팽탕 are classified under exterior releasing medicine and heat clearing medicine. In vitro study CBT, 청산방탕 showed anti-inflammatory effect through the modulation of blah 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 blah. CBT had no effect on cortisol and HbA level. So it has an anti-inflammatory effect. And this is another thermograph. In this research, we used 청산방통탕 to check the former research with the acne vulgaris. And if you see the graph, the blue is lower temperature. When they first visit, all the face was red, and 4 weeks later, you change somewhat, and 8 weeks, you change the lot. That means inflammatory acne region is diminished, subsided. You can use 청산방팽탕 in those cases, a lot of heat on the face. And this is a comparison with 방팽통정산 and 칭상방팽탕. So those are located in the 5 ideology, here and here, wind and heat. So we are getting to the end. So let's chill, okay? Let's hang on there a little bit. It has common nature, releasing exterior. This is common, but 방팽통정산 only have laxative and tonifying feature. Those two features not exist in 칭상방팽탕. 황금, detoxification, that means anti-inflammatory effect, is more focused on 칭생방팽탕. And 칭생방팽탕 reduce inflammation, reduce heat by sweat and detoxification with anti-inflammatory effect and perspiration, expelling the exterior. But 방팽통정산 with all possible means, by defecation, by sweating, by urinating. So it is very all possible means, clear heat. So we can just roughly say it is more close to wind and it is more close to heat. So the patient is diagnosed with more with more wind, you can choose 청산방팽탕 with acne patient. And if the patient shows more of heat, you can use 방팽통정산. My case, the acne is very prone to inflammatory. And obviously my acne is closer to here, but I wouldn't use this one. My acne is more close to indeficiency. So based on patient pattern, please do not skip the questions with their slippings and defecation and skin conditions and tongue. You need to approach with holistic way, not only the skin lesions. Okay? My problem is more prone to indeficiency. So it's very confusing. In the clinical field, 방팽통생산 and 청상방팽탕, 청상방팽탕, 방팽통생산은 아주 비슷해요. Very similar. It's hard to differentiate. But there's a little bit of difference. The wind, expelling wind is the same, but there's a little bit of difference by differentiating meticulously, correctly, will make your patient get better faster without much of side effect. So please remember this simple principle. These are the ways of controlling fire. This is superficial. When the fire heat is in the exterior, you can use these herbs. And the fire goes dead, it becomes blood heat and indeficiency heat. And eventually, you need to tonify in mostly, not expelling, not clearing heat, but tonifying it in should be major strategy. So all the other formulas to sedate fire locate in this continuum. First, 소풍산, 샤오팽산 is most superficial layer. Okay? The patient skin problems or other symptoms like a dizziness is only induced by wind. Consider this one. And 생혈윤분, 생셰런토ien, this is very more focused on indeficiency. Patient skin problem is, I usually use this prescription, patient only has a lichenification, not the oozings or erythema, only the lesions. So I use these herbs at the end of the stage. So this one is tonifying it. So between these two, there are many herbs, not that many. I choose this based on my own experience and based on the popularity of the whole Korean clinics. So these are the very important prescriptions in skin diseases. First, wind heat expeller. Right next to the 소풍산, 칭샹방팽탕. And 방팽통신사, 청상방팽탕, 방팽통신사. And 청안탕. Because those two have a 시우탕 inside. This one doesn't have a 시우탕 inside. So it is more lighter, upper side, superficial side. And if you compare these two, even if these two have 시우탕, this is more focused on heat and this is more focused on wind. So this one is very similar, but it is close to deep, not superficial. So all these herbs are very close, very similar. So actually, you can use 청안탕 or 청상방탕 patient, not much of difference. But if you correctly diagnose, it can be helpful. But you should not mix, confused with these symptoms and these symptoms. Okay? This is more important. And heat clearing 황리엔지루탕 here in the middle, only focusing on heat. And next, 서각조항탕, 시지어리후 황탕, or wenqingin. I need to put wenqingin too. It should be located here. wenqingin. 온청음. Please write that down. wenqingin should be here. And 생혈윤부. So it is a whole continuum. And if you confused with one of these two, think about it. If the patient is closer to heat, or if the patient has symptoms of wind. If patient have symptoms of wind, like itching a lot and the itching place is going all over the part again and again, it is not worsened at night, but it is worsened in the daytime, that is a sign of wind, and see the tongues and neck is wiry, person is wiry, then you should go with this herbs. When you're confused, try to differentiate the whole body again. Then that will guide your direction. So this is very important continuum, so please remember. Oh, wenching. What is wenching? Okay. This will continue. Acupuncture for acne. So it is not much of difference with other skin problems, so you can apply based on patient patterns. This is what I use based on patterns. When there's a long heat and skin heat, they say my skin is hot and dry, always hot and dry, then you should sedate fire, L11, long 10. And these points are good for subsiding itch too. And hard, edge to A, SI 18. When they have a rosacea, something like redness on the cheeks, that is the hard side of hard hit. You can use this point. And when the symptoms worsen with digestive problems, you should use this point, PC6 and ST36. And when they have a problem with their bowel movement, the alternating diarrhea and constipation, you better use CV4, CV12 for regulating bowel movement. And stress and 7 emotion is related to their acne. You better use liver 3 and RT7. If the patient's symptoms worsened with their period, you can use the Sam acupuncture or Helbach, the blood stasis prescription. So, based on patient condition, you can add or remove some points or another. So, it is just basic. So, I'm going back to basic again and again. This is a whole procedure in Korean acne clinic. But this is very old, maybe more than 7 years, I think less than 10 years. So the clinic itself is kind of old. These days, way more upscale, way more clean and beautiful. But this is kind of old, but it shows briefly the whole process of the acne treatment.
From within the body is treated with Bupong treatment. Bupong purifies thickened blood to smoothen circulation throughout the body. This helps bring back body temperature to normal levels. In Liu Jia's case, she has especially high fevers in the chest and abdominal region. Acupuncture needles are placed on the stomach to restore the flow of energy and bring back the internal organs to a state of equilibrium. Acupuncture is also performed on the hands, where pressure points corresponding to different parts of the body are located. This helps increase the effectiveness of treatment. It's important to receive regular acupuncture treatment as it treats the underlying cause of the problem. But this doesn't mean acne is not directly treated. Similar to Western medicine, clogged pores are opened up and sebum deposits are squeezed out. However, in Korean genuine medicine, medicinal acupuncture using natural medicine herbs is performed directly on the treated acne. Needles are placed on affected areas, and its benefits are astounding. Finally, powder made of natural medicinal herbs is mixed with water and used as a facial to alleviate the skin and stimulate skin cells reproduction.
This is a whole procedure. If you see actual Korean acne, especially clinic, with your eyes, it is more like a skincare clinic with just hint of TCM. Just a hint of TCM. You need this to the whole procedure to compete with medical doctors. And especially the explosion, right? Explosion, the 압출하는 거. Explosion is a very important procedure in acne clinic. I see acne patients in Hamsuwa, and we do the explosion too. There's a little bit of the tricky techniques, not leaving scars and without pain. Maybe we need to do that practice someday. So this is the whole process of acupuncture treatment, very modality procedure. The problem of the healing cycle of all the skin diseases, including acne and alopecia, we are getting to end. Unfortunately, our healing process is not linear. It's always like a roller coaster. If you do not tell this kind of fact to the patient beforehand, they will leave your clinic with a lot of complaint. So, and it is a long-term process. So you need to set reasonable goal first, and you need to explain all the possible risk and this kind of roller coaster like a procedure first. That is the matter of the compliance. And this is my favorite quotation from 동의보감, that Korean classic. It says like this: people's disease all come from inappropriate care of their health. So the subject also cultivation should come first. The cultivation here is a kind of technical term in Chinese letter. This is more like a regimen change of daily living. 수양, 한글로 수양을 얘기합니다. 수양. 수양 is management of their own self. So cultivation should come first, and the subject on herbs and acupuncture should come later. So this classic book says, try to change patient life first, and herbs and acupuncture is less important than that, way less important than that. But acupuncture these days just ignore this cultivation part. So it's not important. This thing is just trash. This is just for fun, because they are just less risk. I just showed it to you. But what really important is, let them change their life. Okay? If they have alopecia, they need to change the life pattern that makes scalp hit, and poor nutrition, eating too much greasy food. Any other skin symptom is the same. They need to change their lives. Stop eating spicy pork. So please remember this, and this is the last slide. Just to review the prescriptions, it goes from here to here, and this is the acne prescription, 청한탕, and all this. So if you have an acne patient, you can first think this, and if the patient have alopecia, you can think of these herbs. One is sexium, one is capsules. So, was it easy?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I like that. Hold on a minute, just 1 second. So I tried to teach the methodology in TCM without the pictures. So as I promised, I did show you the pictures. And you can apply this modality, it's easy framework, to your patient right away in this afternoon. And if you see acne patient, alopecia patient, first think with the general framework, and if it doesn't fit specifically, you can think about the specific prescription formulas with more suitable patient individual patterns. So please don't skip the pattern diagnosis, okay? Always you should not be obsessed with skin lesions. Always try to see whole body. That is something I want to tell you in this last moment, okay? Go on, please.
So I've noticed in some of my patients that some of these herbs are very hard on their digestion. Like, for example, I've given Shaofeng-san to a patient before, and it gave him a lot of like bloating and gas and trouble with his stool. So does that mean, what should we do if that's the situation? If we think we got the diagnosis right, but the person says they're unable to tolerate it, like they have like a lot of diarrhea or something like that?
That is very simple. That was a wrong medication, wrong
Wrong
formula.
Okay.
Definitely. I'm sorry to just say
Yeah, no.
boldly, that is the wrong prescription, wrong
Okay.
formula. You choose the wrong formula. In
Okay.
those cases, based on patient pattern, not the patient's skin lesion. Sometimes they need some medication like this, like 평유산. 평유산이拼音은 뭐예요? 평유산. That is one of the herbs I use a lot.
Okay.
Even the skin problem is just oozing and erythema, and even there's a pus. If the patient condition is directing the point of removing the stagnation of the GI tract, then I use penguisan a lot too for the skin problems,
Okay.
especially when they have hives after eating something strange. Penguisan work great. So, I'm sorry, I told you so boldly.
Yeah.
You should think that is the wrong
Wrong.
choice of the formula.
Okay.
And many cases, my colleagues and my students pick only based on skin lesions. So please try to always consider patient's whole state of health first. Okay, it was fun for me. Was it fun for you too?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.